Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. One I'm not too happy to make, but I do want to comment on the happenings in Minnesota, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Um, Dante Wright, 20-year-old biracial male, not sure where he's from, I'd imagine Minnesota, was pulled over for a traffic stop, and they found that he had some warrants, I guess, in the stop somehow. They determined that there was something going on there, a warrant of some sort, something like that. And homeboy decided to try to get up out of those cuffs, get back in his car, and take off. Bad decision, of course. Um, the officer in question, female, Caucasian lady, I don't have her name in my mind right now, but they just released her name. She pulled out her gun, what she claims she believed was a taser, and fired it to the young man, fatally striking him and leaving his family and his loved ones without him. As a result, we have seen what you would expect to see, especially given where this took place during the trial of Chauvin, the police officer who assisted in murdering George Floyd. Even though they're trying to pin the entire thing on him, there were several other cops who contributed to the pressure being placed upon that man's body, leaving him without any air to breathe and thus taking his life from him and his daughter and family, loved ones. Furthermore, you have different people, out there tearing stuff up as you would expect. You got the NBA and MLB and the hockey all canceling games in Minnesota this evening. And this is just another tale of the same old song. And we can all speculate about it, whether or not this is an isolated incident that looks and seems as it's being presented to us, or if it's something else that we can dig deeper into. But I think the obvious conversation that is continuing to be had is that this is something that seems to occur quite a bit, and we do not see people lose their lives upon arrest after murdering five, six people. You shoot five or six guys, six girls, some kids, and he walks out of there free. Cops take him ever so carefully, cover his head, place it ever so gently in the car, slam the door very nicely, and proceed to take off at a slow speed not to startle the suspect. I mean, it's one of those situations where it's very obvious to everybody who's looking at it from the perspective of myself that there is some imbalance taking place here as it pertains to how each and every human being is arrested upon whatever crime they're being arrested for. And we know there's no parity there. We can clearly see there's some imbalance there. So that's frustrating in and of itself. I would like to see mass murder shooters shot on sight. I don't believe that any of those situations should ever go to trial. You shoot those dudes. If he shot up a whole house full of people, if he shot up a whole school full of people, he should not walk out of there. Now, that's not my call, and I respect that truth. As a private citizen, I should not be given the power to make that decision, but that would be how it should go if you ask me. We don't waste time with trials for people who shoot up 50 people. If he shot up 50 people, he needs to die right then and there. In the place where he shot those people, that's where he should fall to. That's how I feel, and I truly believe that. Yeah. And as far as situations such as these, well, I mean, it would be lovely if our victim here didn't decide to resist arrest once those warrants were found. But I can assure you, he did not think that he would die for doing so. And quite honestly, he should not have. Now, if he hops in that car, goes on a high-speed chase, there's a lot of different things that can go wrong. So preventing him from ever doing so is very, very, very much essential to an officer's job, and I do know that. But what's also essential to an officer's job is not being jury, judge, and executioner in the moment. And while this has been not expected, that's the wrong word, this has been reported as an accident, And because it's just one person's word versus a person who isn't alive anymore, obviously we have to go by what we see on the body cam footage. The body cam footage showed me what I described to you. It's inconclusive as to whether or not she knew that she was holding her gun. She did pull her gun and scream taser more than once. So in my mind, she either thought that she was holding a taser or she was covering her backside as to say taser, knowing that she was holding her gun. But being that they described this individual as a 20-plus year veteran on the force, I've held a taser before and I've held a gun before. They don't feel the same. Now, that mistake could be made in earnest. That could be a honest mistake. But the problem with that being as it is, it tells me that she was not poised enough mentally to be able to, in the moment of a stressful situation, know the difference between a 10, 12-pound handgun and maybe a 4 or 5-pound taser. If you can't differentiate between the two in the moment, then you should not be in position to do the job. Especially if you've been there for 20 years. I've never known anybody who's done anything for 20 freaking years to make a mistake that serious in a moment of that type of situation. It should not happen. It cannot happen. And because there's so much room for hell no, that didn't happen, I have a lot of doubt in my mind as to whether or not what is being said is the truth. Now, I have I have a theory that has been going around, and this theory has been going along for a little bit. I don't know if I've ever said this on camera, and I don't blame anybody for disagreeing with me. I really don't. But this is what this feels like to me. All of us have seen the Olympics, right? You watch your relay races. You got everybody at the line in the three-point stance. You got the official in the back holding the gun in the air to fire the gun to get people to run. George Floyd's murder felt like a fire in the air to get people to run. This gentleman's murder feels like a fire in the air to get people to run. The running is the civil unrest, the rioting, the legislation that falls afterward, all of the money that goes into the court system when one of these trials take place, all of the attention that goes into politicians as certain things fall into place from things such as this. Money going into various places, Black Lives Matter, this, that person, that. Everybody's getting money now because we've had these incidences cause such an uproar with our people. I'm here to tell you that I'm not buying. When I watched George Floyd's murder, and I was one of the first people I knew that watched that footage. I was up at 5:30 in the morning, and one of my Facebook friends from overseas uploaded that video in real time. It was only a couple of minutes delay. I saw it pretty much when it happened. George Floyd situation, to me, looked like a demonstration. It was a snuff film. It was WWF with real, actual killing. That's what that was. Chauvin looked like somebody when he was sitting on that man's, when they had a picture of him, they showed a photo of him particularly, with his kneeling on George Floyd's neck. My initial reaction was, this is some WWE displaying characterization bullcrap. I'm looking at someone fake it for the camera, even though he's really harming someone. This isn't an accident. This isn't a happenstance. This is all staged. All of it looked staged. The only person who wasn't in on it, from my perspective, was the man dying on the ground. But that looked like that was, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is what's going to happen because of it. Everyone's going to go crazy. Now we can float some money over here. Now we can float some money over there. Now we got some political leverage over here to help us with this over there. All we needed to happen was for that man there to die. Oh, hey, trial's going on. What can we do? Let's give him another one. Another shot in the arm, shall we? Bow. Everybody go run. Race on your mark, set, go. Pow. This young man dies. Now everybody's rushing out to the streets. Burn this down. Tear that up. Oh, look at them. They're all bad. Oh, look, those people shouldn't be holding their guns. Oh, look, let's sign this into legislation. Oh, look. Come on, man. Come on. Let's just be honest. Am I the only person that saw it this way? Is this beyond the realm of possibilities that some would line up to put something like this in motion so that a million different things can manifest from it? Come on, man. America's smart enough to try something like that. They've done it before in different ways. This is not as it seems in my opinion. This was deliberate. This was planned. This was executed. Those men were executed. Happenstance, accidental gun, accidental, nah. Your taser and your gun ain't even in the same place, ma. I'm an officer myself. Not of the law, but I'm an officer myself. I carry a belt. Taser, gun, I don't hold a gun. I don't have a taser, but I guarantee you, those things don't go in the same places. They just don't. Why? To prevent stuff like this from actually taking place. Now, does that mean that someone who is not of sound mind and body, of someone who might be jittery and kind of afraid in the moment, not really built for the moment that they're in, even though she's been in the force for over 20 years, so I don't know how the hell she hasn't been in a situation like this a million times, but nevertheless, an unarmed individual is in front of her. He happens to be half black. Hey, that's terrifying, buddy. He doesn't need a gun. He got the skin. Tell that to his mom, but whatever, right? At some point in time, we have to start looking deeper. Clearly, this trial that's going on is a charade. It's an absolute and utter charade. I witnessed the murder. I know what happened. And 1.5 million, probably other people saw it around the same time I did. And then from there, everybody else saw it after that. We all know what happened. We don't need a trial. And we certainly don't need a trial for one cop when it was like 5 of them sitting on the man. Right? That's that clear. I don't know how much evidence you need to see. My eyes, I'm a witness. I can testify. Hey, yo, they sat on the man and they sat on him. He said he couldn't breathe. He died right there while they were sitting on him. They got up, took a walk while he was still laying there. Got back in their cars. People was screaming at him like they were horrible people, and they just kind of walked off. Chauvin walked off like he knew he was getting away with it. And cut. You see what I'm saying? It's all a charade, man. It's WWE bullshit. Snuff film. That's what that was. And this situation feels like just in a continuation of that. Same state, same department, basically. In the same time of the trial. I'm over a lot of what happens here because I know it's a charade. Even though we don't have the evidence on this level that I'm on, since I'm like a regular guy, I don't have any evidence of the bullshit. You can sense it, you know? I got an analogy for you. I was sitting in this room once, this very room, and somewhere back in that area, the top of that pole up there, in the top of that area, somebody had laid, done some duty up there. It wasn't pretty. One of our guests decided to use that as a bathroom up there. Now, I believe that probably happened several days before I actually got into this room. But when I got in this room, I could smell something was off. It didn't smell like what it should have smelled like, but it did smell like as if a homeless person had been living there. If you know that smell, you understand what I'm saying. It's very distinctive. And you know something's off. You don't know exactly what it is, but you can smell something's off. It took several days before I got to the bottom of what that smell was because one of my guys came in here who cleans this area and told me what it was that was up there, and he had to go up there and clean it while I was sitting here. And at that moment, I realized all that I had been smelling was off. I didn't know exactly what it was that I was smelling. I knew I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but I knew something was foreign. I'm in this room 5 days out of the week. I know when something doesn't smell right in here, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But I was certain of it. And when it was revealed to me, I believed myself to be true. I was right. I was proven right. I knew I was right. I knew something was wrong. Just couldn't tell you what it was. That's the exact same feeling I have about this George Floyd situation in regards to everything that's going on in Minnesota today. I don't know where it's coming from. It doesn't even smell like that. But I know something's off in this room. Something ain't right. And I think it's a bunch of people all over the world that feel the exact same way I do. So. You did? Oh, okay. Thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF44. I'll let you go.